If you don't trellis your tomato plants, they are more prone to disease. You'll get less of a harvest, and ultimately, it means death for your plant. So we've tried so many different solutions on these. They're either so expensive, it's just not worth it, or it just doesn't work. We believe we've come up with the low cost solution to your tomato trellises. What we did was we got this fencing we had left over that we used to fence in our cows. I think it's called field fence or bull fence, sheep fence. They call it a bunch of different things. Or anywhere you can get fencing, you can pretty much get this stuff. It usually comes in 300-foot rolls, but I believe you can get them in smaller rolls. You would have to check with your local supplier. But the fence actually starts out with smaller holes at the bottom, and it works its way up to bigger holes, which works out great for tomato plants because your plants can kind of hang out of these big holes. You can get in to harvest them through each hole. So what you do is you cut a 25-inch wide section. You just take it, you bend it around, you zip tie it like we did here on these. So we just bent these around, zip tied them, kind of moved them around a little bit and dug them into the dirt a little bit. You're looking at less than $2 a trellis. And that's amazing because if you look at the trellises online and everywhere, they have terrible reviews and they just don't work. So we've seen, as you all know, we're Texas Master Gardeners, me and Brooke, and we were doing a garden tour just a couple days ago. And as we were walking through her greenhouse, and we had talked about using this bull fence, and then we seen it. She was using the exact same thing. We said, you know what? Let's do it. So then we didn't get a chance to talk to her about it, about how good it worked for her. But man, what a great low cost idea. Okay, you might need a partner to do this. Sometimes it's a little easier. We've been doing them for a little bit here, so we're starting to get them down. So what we do is start at the top, bottom, wherever you feel comfortable. Pull these together, zip your zip tie, okay? Now, some of these might come out. They were coming out on us. Okay, so zip them together, okay? And then you just go down through. And don't worry about it being round right now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to fold this up. It's going to fold like a weird oval shape. Like I said, you don't really have to worry about that right now. Just keep putting your zip ties in, pulling these tight, okay? And we'll show you how to get it round here in a second, okay? And you don't need a zip tie at every one. You want to try and save on zip ties. Now, we did get our zip ties at Amazon. I got like 1,000 of them for really cheap. They're not very expensive. So probably a few cents for the zip ties too that we weren't figuring in. And as you can see, some of them come out of the hinge because this is hinged fence. And you don't want to do the welded wire. We've tried the welded wire fence. I would definitely try and get this bull fence. Okay, so if it comes out, you can slide it back in the hinge like this and just give it a little bend on the end like that. And then it'll stay in. Then what we do is we just take this. Now this wire at the bottom and the top is pretty thick, so you're gonna have to give it a good bend, okay? And just take your wire and just squeeze it like this on both sides. See how it's rounding out, okay? And then flip it over and just work your way up. Some of these, you just have to kind of bend them around a little bit. But you can see how easy they are going in. And this here, when you do this, I was putting my wires together and squeezing them, and then they kind of stay together. That's why you don't need zip ties on every one. If you can see here, I'll squeeze that one. See how it stays together on its own. So, and then this top wire takes a little bit of effort. But as you can see, look, we have almost a perfectly round trellis. And then we'll show you how we put it on. We're getting ready to put this over the tomato plant and stake it down. Before we do that, we're going to ask you to like, subscribe, share this video out, and hey, let us know in the comments whether you think this is going to work or not. We think it's going to work great. So far, we've put a few in. They seem very sturdy. We're going to slide this down over the plant. If your plants are bigger than this, of course, work it over your shoots there and make sure that don't break any off. And what we were doing was just kind of working it into the dirt a little bit like that. Gives a little more stability. Grab your 4 stakes. And we found that working these in kind of like a tent stake, if you do a lot of camping, you put your tent stakes in at a 45-degree angle, okay? Makes them much harder to come out. And if you put them in, they don't go in that good, pull them out, try it somewhere else, because maybe the soil is a little tougher in spots than others. And what we were doing too is instead of putting them in this way toward the plant and damaging any roots, we were going this way, okay, as to not damage. And there's 4 slots here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we were putting in a stake on each opening there. And as you can see, they're not very easy to get in, okay, and very sturdy, not moving. Of course, you're going to have movement, but once your tomato plant gets up in there, this should be plenty sturdy to hold it up. And you have to see the rest of our garden, so make sure you watch the garden tour video with Brooke.